In comparison to back in the days?
Yes.
Different. Times change. A lot of things have changed. I think for the most part, the most important thing that I would say that hasn't changed is the love and the passion for the dance, which is good. That's been consistent. What has changed is, you know, people get older. And when people get older, times change, new generations of people come. So that's not bad. That's also an observation of change that is positive. I think is good. The main change that I observe has its positive and negative. I think is very balanced. It is the contest dance culture, so to speak. Tremendously large. You know, thank you. The dance has become like a sport. You know, people train like athletes to compete. That's a big change. When I was younger, we did it. We might have even trained just as intensely, but we didn't have a competition to go to. It was kind of like more of a social, competitive thing. You know, just reputation and coming up the ranks, and we kind of like kept each other sharp. So it wasn't a very aggressive competition. Nonetheless, that exists too in some places, but overall, it was just a natural competition, whereas now, you know, it's structured that way. You know, it's a whole industry now. It's a street dance industry. It didn't exist. It didn't exist. It was a rap industry and it was, you know, urban music industry, but now there's urban dance industry market, which I think is amazing.
It's good or it's bad?
It's good and bad. Everything has a good and bad. It's very balanced. The good part is that, you know, I'm glad to see that it's getting the respect, the same level as athleticism as athletes, because we train just as hard, we're just as dedicated, we work just as hard. You know, our bodies we're in just as good shape as most athletes, but dance is our sport. Negative is that, you know, a lot of people don't come into dance for the love of it anymore, or if they have come into it for the love, they are in a flux, you know, between the love and the competitive part. And a lot of kids lose themselves to the competitive part, and what I see that's negative about that is that their image starts to be affected, and when they don't win, you know, it's a problem. You know, you got some people who throw tantrums, you got other people who think they suck, or all these emotional issues that come out of that. And what I would say to children or young people dancing, remember why you started doing it. That's your root, the love for it. And if you always go back to that place, that's who you really are, no matter what you do. And if you really love it, you'll be around, you'll be doing it for a long time. The observation I've seen as far as people not loving it is that a lot of people get into it just for the money, because they think that there's so much money to be made. We're all broke. You don't make money. You might make a little something here and there every once in a while, but guess what? It's gone. So get that out of your head. Nobody's a millionaire. Nobody's making money. The organizers go. The event sponsors. That's where the money is. So when you look at that, make sure you support events that really are supporting the art. Try to. And then you can have a stake in changing the thing, I think, and creating a balance. And everyone has to do that, not just the OGs or the teachers, but the students have to also make sure that they play the part. You know, ask questions. You know, make people teach you the truth. Put people in a position where if there's a teacher, they call themselves a teacher, then they need to teach you. You know, it's not just about throwing some steps together, but progressing of steps, history, you know, their own personal history, collective history. You know, why we move the way we do. What is it connected to older than you? You know, so you can see where you're going and not just be stuck. You know what I mean? That would be what I would say. That was my advice. Sorry if that's too long-winded.
Going back in the dark.
The most important thing, again, back to the love, because when you have the love, then you are searching for the vibe. You're looking for a certain energy. You understand that there's a certain energy that's there. You know, and you know, to take it a little deeper, you know, people are very surface oriented usually, but when you become deeper, you realize there's a ritual there. It's always existed. You know, there's the music, there's the feeling, there's the community, and nobody does it by themselves. No matter how good a person may be physically or able to do, they don't do that by themselves. People watch them and give them energy, or they cheer them on. They, you know, it's not one thing. So I think that would be very important. Remember the ritual. You know, everyone has a role. You know, The person who observes has their role as well as the person who's actually taking part in doing the dance. And they feed each other. The circle, or what you guys call ciphers now. We don't really never use that term, but the circle is a very old tradition. You know, there's communal circles, there's circles of war, there's circles for only men, there's circles of women, there's elder circles. And these things exist in the house club and the house culture too. They might not be talked about as much, they might be more subtle. But when you come into a circle and there's elders there, you know it's an elder circle. The energy's one way. When you go to a younger circle, the energy's another way. So you need to understand that. And I think that as a young person, have respect for your elders. You know, yeah, they're old. Okay, yeah, they're washed up. No, there's a lot of information there. A lot of the elders are still able to move a certain way because there is a method there that allows them to maintain that. So you need to know that. Don't just be so eager to get out and bust moves. Get a technical understanding. Understand your body and the relationship, and that's what an elder's for. To help keep you from going through all the injuries and trials and errors and things they've been through for 20 years. They can speed your learning process up. They can save you a lot of frustration and injuries. So that's what an elder and a teacher should represent and should do, you know, as well. So that's what I would say. Seek out teachers that do that as well. You know, keep it alive, man, and pass that on to the next generation. The love for it, you know, the energy and the vibe is the most important thing. Without that, it wouldn't be around. It wouldn't exist.
Support.
Do I have any specific messages? Yeah, you know, we talked about vibe and a couple of those things, and energy and love, the love for the dance. Listen to the music. And I mean, you know, yeah, we hear the music, we hear songs, we know, but no, listen, really listen, and listen to all types of music. All the time, because the more in tune your ear is, the more capable you are, for us especially, the most important thing is the freedom in our expression, which we call freestyle. Again, which is not free of anything, free of style. It just means you have enough understanding of many things to be able to be free and move in any direction you want. But let the music be the driving force, you know, and that takes patience, that takes time, that takes, you know, you can't rush that. You know, you gotta be willing to just sit, you know. It's like a drummer who, you know, he's holding the pace. Everybody depends on the drummer to hold the pace. Well, that's you listening to the music. You want to get to that point where, you know, no matter what you do, you want to be able to come back and hold your pace and be able to hear the music and be in tune with it and change at will. And the better you are, you know, the more time you give yourself for that, the better you'll be at. That would be probably a message that I think is important. Because I see a lot of people that are just trying to bust moves, everything they know in like 2 seconds. It's like trying to, you know, speak all your thoughts in one sentence. It's not going to happen. Dance is a language. It takes time. You need to articulate. You need to have accents. You know, when you're upset, you have a way of speaking, and you know, it changes. Your emotion changes. Your rhythm changes the same way in the dance. And it's very, very similar. So, you know, make sure that your conversation is clear, that people understand what you're saying when you're moving. It's important. You know, you don't want to jumble all your words together. It makes no sense. That's how a lot of people look when they dance. Like, they're just so excited and so eager, and I love it, but, you know, take a breath. It's gonna be all right. I know, I understand, believe me, I still feel all of that. But you gotta let it flow through you. You gotta let it flow through you. That's it.
Yeah.
Peace.
You can hear that music upstairs. All of a sudden you don't care anymore.